What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Club and Country. It's episode number 21, and today we're starting off with a scouting update and academy update as we enter November. From our first batch of scouting, duds. No one good from our first batch, unfortunately. Thankfully, our academy is still looking really decent. I think Sommer and Ronnie Becker, the top two, excite me the most. In particular, Ronnie Becker. I can't wait to promote this guy. And, well, I say I can't wait to promote this guy. I'm just about to. Didn't want to spoil it, but Becker got a pro deal. And as you can see, he's got the exciting prospect tag as 62 overall. So I genuinely don't really know exactly why I trained him to play as striker. He's very well balanced physically. He's got a great long shot rating, to be fair, and 4-star skill moves too. But he's just got such a weird range of stats. 58 for shooting and dribbling, 54 passing, 56 defending. Such a strange character, Ronnie Becker, but he took the number 9 jersey himself. I didn't give it to him. He said, "Gaffer, you made me a striker and I'll repay your faith in me." Gave himself the number 9 jersey. And I really like his name. And again, the exciting prospect tag as well. I don't know how much he'll play. He'll certainly struggle to break up Ransford Yeboah in the first 11, but either way, Ronnie Becker gets a pro deal today. I just had to do it, man. I was really excited to see just how he'd look coming out of the academy. Very interesting character, no doubt about that. Still, with the first game of today's episode on the back of a thrilling 3-2 victory against Hertha Berlin, when Ransford Yeboah scored his first hat-trick of the season. He'd followed up with our first goal here against Freiburg, who of course finished runners-up last year in the 2 Liga, making it 1-0 and getting his 4th goal in 2 games. And then 35 minutes into the game, trying to make it 2-0 and double our lead. Nice little 1-2 here between Gadikli and Felix Agu. And as Agu steps inside, I just blasted it in at the near post. And that's definitely something I do recommend as well. When you're going through one-on-one from a tight angle, occasionally you might want to bend it. If you feel confident in the player you're using and the finisher, the type of finisher he is, then finesses to the far corner might not be a bad idea. But to me, if you're stepping in from that angle and it's quite tight, I do recommend just blasting the ball with a lot of power. Near post or far post. Normally near post, but for this one here it was far post with Agu. I feel like smash shots are a lot more effective than finesse shots in FIFA these days. So 3 to the final score has beat Freiburg pretty comfortably there. The side that came up with us in the 2 Liga last year, courtesy of a good brace and Ransford Yeboah won as well. For the second game of today's episode, the other team that got promoted with us in Freiburg last year, Union Berlin, who of course beat Hamburg in the playoffs. So heading into this game, aiming for yet another win here to keep ourselves in the hunt for a European place. Had a great start to the season. Now we're midway through November. We don't want to drop off the pace. And 8 minutes into the game, what a signing this guy is proving to be. Felix Agu with another 3-2 for round number 3. I'm loving this guy. And I said it when I signed him as well. It's because he's got those high work rates now. We train that defensive work rate up. And again, the 90 stamina, the rapid pace. You don't know how important this guy is, man. He's so crucial in the 3-4-1-2. That was the main problem in our first 2 seasons. The left mid and the right mid, we were using Dyer, Wusi and Gatu. They just don't defend. But Agu, you can see here, make a crucial block with 5 minutes to go in the first half. He does defend, he does track back, and it's so important. I think it's helped me defend a little bit better this season as well. Sadly, Union Berlin would equalise in that moment there. Agu's block didn't count for much after the rebound was turned in, but right before the break, oh my goodness gracious me, we saw last season, this guy, he only seems to score nice goals, but this year, he's already got 4. This is goal number 5 for this season already. He's looking like a new hero at Dresden. In fact, we've got 2 new heroes at Dresden, Agu on the left and Gatau on the right. This guy's been unbelievable this season, man. He's sort of like that emerging star from out of nowhere. He's growing so nicely all the time, and he ends up scoring the game winner right before half-time as well. But absolutely sick volley. He's just got flair, that guy. He's got genuine flair. You know, there's certain players you use who, they just have a touch for the unexpected, and their technique as well. The technique is just so good. That is Julian Gatau to me. He has got amazing technique, great flair. And as you can see, loves to score game winners as well. Because in the third game of today's episode, Augsburg right now struggling down the bottom of the table, coming to take something to Dresden. Such a frustrating game. I was on top from the very first whistle in this game, which could not get the goal. You know those games where you take like 10, 11 shots, but the goalkeeper's just on absolute flames. You just can't find a goal. Well, right at the end of the game, Gatau scores 2 goals in as many games and wins it right at the death, stepping in from the right and banging it home to give us the big 3 points and extend the win streak as well. So 1-0 to final score there, and great to get a clean sheet as well, 2 in 3 for Dresden, so our defense has definitely picked up. But as you can see, on the back of the great run, we're up to 3rd place in the table now. We're in the top 4. Look, we're not going to catch Bayern. I'm not going to sit there until we've got a chance of knocking Bayern off their throne in our first season. Absolutely no way. They're still dominating German football, and probably still will for at least another 2 or 3 years. But either way, we're in the top 4 right now, in a Champions League place, and staying there is going to be incredibly high. See our final 4 fixtures of the calendar year. In the first half of the season as well, we have got both Bayern Munich away at the Allianz and Borussia Dortmund, who have struggled a bit this season, this month as well, along with Stuttgart and Werder Bremen being the other 2 of the final 4 games of the calendar year. But yeah, we know we're probably not going to catch Bayern. If I'll just say it now, we're not going to catch Bayern, but to stay in the top 4, I mean, I said at the start of the season I was targeting 8th to 10th or possibly sneaking into a Europa League place, but at the moment, even Champions League is looking like a real possibility. But still, with the first game of December, first to final 4 of the calendar year in the first half of the campaign, Stuttgart here, away from home. Fell behind with 20 minutes to go as Stuttgart finally broke down our resistance, but as we enter stoppage time, still trailing by 1, Gadikli came off the bench. Beat Jarquin with the ball roll, steps inside, and for the second game in 2, we get ourselves a late goal and a late prize. Dresden were known as the comeback kids, but also the late goals we score as well. Gadikli, that's only his 2nd goal of the season. I'll be honest here, I've really struggled with Gadikli this year, and I know he's got the exciting prospect tag, and I know you think that we should be playing him on a more regular basis, but as I mentioned before, I feel like Daphne and Ransford Jabbar have a better partnership, but it is true, Gadikli does have the higher potential. It's just I'm just not really doing well with Gadikli. I don't know what it is about him this season, but I'm really struggling to get him working for me. But still, following the draw there and the late heroics, we did see that Agu changed his position to left midfield. Didn't really do anything as we were expecting. He remains a 77 overall rated player, but the reason I did this is because I can now change his development plan and get his weak foot up. His weak foot is currently 3-star, and I want it to be 5-star. And also did the same with Gatau as well. I'm going to change it to a right midfielder. It doesn't really do anything at all, because they already have those positions as secondary positions, but when they become primary, it does minimise the chance of them having the exclamation mark next to their name, which is very frustrating to see. And obviously, again, you can then give them development plans in a specific position. Obviously, for Gatau, it won't matter because he'll just be going from one side to the other in midfield, but for Agu, we can now give him midfield development plans as opposed to defending development plans. But still, for the following game here, Borussia Dortmund, first test against Borussia Dortmund in this series. I was really looking forward to this one. In the end, it finishes a goalless draw, so held scoreless in the game. A very credible 0-0. We almost won it as well. Julian Gatau sent through 1-1. I thought it was going to be another game winner for our number 19, going through 1-1, but couldn't hit the target because I bent it wide at the post and behind for a goal kick. But still, a very credible draw there against Dortmund. Despite them struggling this season, I'd still take the 0-0 and a good clean sheet as well. But for the penultimate game of today's episode and the calendar year as well, Bayern Munich away at the Allianz, unbeaten to start the season off and looking almost perfect. Well, heading into the game, this guy right now is leading the race for the Golden Boot, Thomas Müller, and he gave the host the lead, 1-0 Bayern, and right before the break. We know how good this guy is. He is one of the most lethal strikers in world football. He was the one I was most afraid of heading into the game, even though Müller is leading the way in the race to the Golden Boot, and this is why. Robert Lewandowski is one of those elite pure goal scorers who can do it in a variety of ways and is just unstoppable when he wants to bang them in. 3-0 Bayern, Lewandowski with 2, Müller with 1 as well, and in stoppage time that became 4 as Robert Lewandowski bagged the match ball, the hat-trick and the 3 points wrapped up for Bayern as well. Yeah, we've had a great start to this season. You know, this is only our 2nd loss of the campaign. We're in the top 4 right now. We were in the top 4 into the game, but let's be honest here, there is a big gap between Bayern Munich and where we are, and many other clubs are right now as well. Look, I think we could break into the top 4 this year. Definitely. I mean, at the start of the season, I would have bitten your hand off for Europa League football, but now I'm thinking top 4 is definitely achievable, no doubt about that. But there's a big gap between Bayern and the rest of the chasing pack. They won the Bundesliga the past 2 years. They've been dominating German football for so long now. It's going to take a while before we can really compete with Bayern. And I really noticed it in that game as well. It's my first game against Bayern. We've been on a great unbeaten run, only 1 loss all season long, and then heading into that game, it was like Seriously, I was just powerless to resist, and it was a much of a surprise. They're going to run away with the title. They're going to win it again. It will be the third straight in the game. I don't think anyone's going to be capable of getting close to them this season. Certainly not us. But still, for the final game of today's episode, Werder Bremen here, final game of the calendar year, and the first half of the season coming to an end before the winter break as well. Taking on Werder Bremen, took the lead in the first half through Albert Simon, making it 1-0. Then 68 minutes in as Agu steps in from the left, offloads to Ramsey Boa. Good first touch to beat Kempf, and a great finish as well. And whilst Muller is still leading the race to the Golden Boot right now, Ramsey Boa is right behind him. It's going to be a really interesting race to see who wins the Golden Boot this year. Those are the top two, Ramsey Boa and Thomas Muller. Look, Bayern will win the title, but if we can get Ramsey Boa the Golden Boot in our first year in the Bundesliga, that'll be a nice saving grace. Still leading by 2, and with 7 minutes to go, we wrap up the point to make it 3 as well. Finole Becker scoring his second goal of the season. That was such a weird goal as well. Rounded the goalkeeper, was off balance, such a tight angle, and yet he just banged it into the top corner. Doc's using the aimbot out there, but still 3 to the final score, and there it is, half through the season. After the win, we're back into the top 4, but only by a goal clear of Frankfurt right now. 1 behind Hertha, 3 behind Leverkusen, 16 behind Bayern Munich, so we're not going to catch them, but 3 clear of Mönchengladbach in 6th, and also I think we're 4 or possibly 5 clear of Leipzig in 6th as well. So at the moment, we're doing a pretty decent job of keeping ourselves away from the chasing pack outside of the European places, but it's still very tight indeed. There's still a half of the season left to go. We're still in the top 4, but only just. It's very, very tight, and it's going to be a very difficult challenge to maintain where we are right now. But that will end this episode of Club and Country, guys. Big thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed it, and if you had, please drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode very soon.